Hey everybody, Caleb Rothe here, joined with Mark Thurston, and we're talking about getting your ensemble prepared for WGI World Championships. In this video, we're going to talk about the importance of getting on and off the floor efficiently and like the well-oiled machine that we know you want your ensemble to be. So this is, Mark, always one of the biggest challenges at World Championships. Everybody's got their whole show out there. Everybody's got all the props in, and we are all using every single second of our interval time, and that creates a huge backlog. So, and we always see this at World Championships. We see groups that are getting timing penalties because they're exceeding their interval time, or they're doing that thing where they cross that timing line and don't continue to make forward progress out of the arena, and it starts to really back up the show. So we wanted to talk about a couple of tips to make sure that this is super efficient at your events. Mark, can you start by talking about after you cross that timing line, what we want our groups to do in terms of getting up out of the building and the importance of really prioritizing that in these couple of weeks while you're getting prepared?
Sure. We need to just keep moving. So if you're finished with your performance, you've pulled your floor, you have to continue to pull it. If we can get all the way over to the left of side one, the next group out can start to pull their floor, because the interval time works. If you're A-class group and at 9 minutes you pull, the next group should be pulling right along with them. That's the only way we stay on time. If you pull and then take 30 to 40 more seconds before the other group can come on, we've now just exceeded the interval time, which just gets worse as the show goes on. So we need to keep moving, and we usually figure this out at the venues when we go through a second time around, but it's really important that we get it in the prelim rounds to stay on time.
Yeah, and we've kind of mapped this out. You know, the interval time technically is supposed to be your total time in the building. And we've always provided that like 50% line to try to keep things moving nice and smooth. But if you are pre-staging all your stuff and then we say go and you're taking the full 9 or 10 or 11 minutes before you cross that timing line, that next group's time starts as soon as you cross that timing line. So there's not room in the schedule for you to take an extra 30 seconds or minute or 2 minutes getting the rest of your stuff out of the competition area. It's got to be kind of like a bang bang play and you're out of there. We did the math. If everybody took an extra 30 seconds clearing that whole competition area, would be 30 minutes behind by the end of every single day. And obviously that's just the event doesn't work that way, and that's really unfair to the thousands of performers that are performing late in the day to back up the show that much. So huge priority for us. Now, how do we fix that? Well, a couple of things. First and foremost, at World Championships, this thing is moving. So you've got to prepare your group. As soon as the group before you is done, they play their last note, they start to move their equipment, you're going to start coming in and filling up that part that they're about to vacate. Your job is to make sure that you communicate to all of your performers, all of your non-performing helpers, all the staff members, all the adults, everybody, how quickly and efficiently they need to move into the competition area. And just understand, as soon as the group before you crosses that timing line, the TMP judge is going to, as soon as they can, be ready to send you on your way across that timing line. So you typically don't have the luxury of like a whole 30 seconds or 45 seconds to pre-stage before the TMP judge sends you. It may just be a matter of 10 seconds if that other group before you is super efficient before the TMP judge is sending you. So make sure that everybody with your group knows as soon as the curtain opens, we got to be moving all the way until we're past the curtain, and then our job is done. It's not just like when the judge, when the TMP judge says go, or when you cross that timing line that everybody can relax. It's once you're out of the building entirely. The other thing that I've seen is having a good game plan for everybody in your ensemble is such a difference maker. So making sure that every single person knows exactly what their responsibility is incredibly important. Who's going to be pushing the side one speaker? Do they know what they need to connect and what sequence they're going to come into the building in and all that kind of stuff? Detailing that now rather than when you're waiting in the tunnel is the key to success at WGI World Championships. So have a plan. Practice the plan, rehearse it as much as you rehearse the show, and hopefully everything with your ensemble is just a well-oiled machine once you get to WGI World Championships. Hey, Mark, I know the other thing we wanted to talk about is what do we do if catastrophe strikes? We're on the floor, everything's set up, and we're pressing synth one, and we got no sound. What are some tips that we should keep in mind in that kind of situation?
Yeah, I think each staff needs to have a plan. if it's just a speaker out or a center fill that's out. You have to know how long you're willing to take in your interval time before you give a go signal. And if it's catastrophic where nothing's coming out, you're going to give yourself so much time, because I've seen groups not advance, and they would have if they just didn't have a massive interval time penalty. So have a plan, know what it's going to be, and execute it.
Yeah, and have a fail safe. If if your rule for yourself is we troubleshoot for 40 seconds, and if we can't solve it in 40 seconds, we go without electronics, do it. That may mean you need to have a couple of alternative things, like performers already know, how do we count off movement 2 if we don't have the electronics, that kind of stuff. If you have that plan in place, you can pivot and hopefully still perform well enough that you give yourself a chance to advance to the next round, rather than getting that really large timing penalty that just kind of takes you out of the competition. So we hope that doesn't happen to anybody, but planning is the best thing that you can possibly do ahead of time, including coming up with plan B, plan C, plan D, which should include things other than we're just going to troubleshoot until we eventually get it right, because that obviously will kind of take you out of the competition and backs up the show tremendously. So we want to kind of avoid those situations. All right, Mark, anything else in terms of getting on and getting off?
No, I think you covered it quite clearly.
All right, everybody, that's the good stuff. Make sure that you're practicing and preparing for this. Come up with a plan, come up with a plan B to that plan, and we'll see you at WGI World Championships. And hopefully everything is just a well-oiled machine for your group.